Hi Eddie, this is Tom here at ANKOM. First thing I want you to do is take off the front plate here and the back cover. Try to get in position so it's easy for you to get to that back cover. Front plate has the 4 screws in the front. Just take those screws out. Make sure you don't drop them and lose them. What we're going to do is give you points of possible leakage during the run. Take that plate, set it aside. On the back, there's going to be 4 screws on each side. I don't have them in here right now, but you can use the same screwdriver. Take those 4 screws on each side, so there's 8 total. On the back, you have to lift it up and over the handle, so there's a notch out here on the back. So basically, position your fingers underneath, lift up. As soon as you get it high enough, it should pull right straight off the back, exposing the back. Once you get to that point, I'd like you to start a run. You could even start the run before that, so it gives a little time to build up pressure. And the leaking points that you might find, the first one that I'd like you to check is the front probe here. This is the temperature probe. This is what gets your readings for your temperature on your display. Make sure this is tight. There's a Teflon ferrule in there, so it might feel a little loose. Just take a wrench and go clockwise with this fitting right here, making sure that it's tight. Again, there's a Teflon ferrule in there, so you might think it's loose. Just check, see if there's any fat buildup around in there. If these are leaking, it tends to leak the fat out with the solvent, and it kind of gives you a buildup of fat. A couple more places on the back. We have our Q6 valve. This valve here is for the drain. At the end of the run, all your solvent comes through this valve and into your condenser and back into your reservoir. This is the reservoir that holds your ether at the in between runs. This is directly hooked up to the sight tube up front that you're telling me it comes out low on. So you want to check these fittings. Anything to go into this side of the Q6. On the opposite side is Q5. You want to check the fittings on that side also. There's a couple other fittings that are kind of hidden, kind of a little harder to get to. You might need the instrument turned right sideways. And that's anything coming off of this plate here. So you have the tube that comes up to Q6 right here. You have the fittings that come to Q7 and over to the safety valve, and also the tube coming up to Q5. Okay? These are all potential leaks. Another potential leak is on the exit of Q7. There's a 90-degree fitting that it could be leaking through. Sometimes the valves are cracked, leaking just a little bit. So look for residue at any fitting that I just explained. During this, if you feel a suspect fitting that might be loose, I suggest you make a soap solution, or if you have a bubble solution for leak detecting, I recommend you doing that. I have an instrument here that is doing a run. My pressure is built up to approximately 40 psi now. So if I have a leak in any of these fittings, it should show up with some bubble solution. So what you want to do, what I do is I'll mix a little detergent with warm water and make sure it's going to bubble up if you have a leak. So you want to see bubbles with it, okay? I use a little dropper to go, and I'll drop a little bit of the solution around my fittings where I think there might be a suspect leak. Now, I'm going to try to cause a leak so you understand exactly what will happen here. I need to grab my wrench. Now this is under pressure. I'm only going to do this to show you what a possible leak will look like. I'm going to crack it very little. and you'll see the bubbles forming on the bottom here. There it goes. That right there is a leak. In your situation, you have such a small leak, it's only losing a little bit of ether each run. Now, what that indicates to me is it's not a severe leak. If it was, you would be getting ETS, electronic temperature switch, faults. And you indicated that you're not getting any faults. So I think the best way to determine if you have a possible leak somewhere is an actual residue built up on one of the valves. Another way you can check without bubble solution is feel these tubes and these fittings in the valves. If they're hot during a run, that means vapor's getting by that section. Right now these are nice and cool, I can touch them. If I opened up this Q6 valve, this would get hot and you wouldn't be able to touch it because it's taking the 90 degrees C ether out of the vessel and through that valve. So it's continuously pumping hot ether through there. So that's an indication of a leak, is if something's getting hot. And it will get hot near the spacer plate. That's the plate where you check to see if it was dirty underneath or if the vessel was dirty. It will tend to get hot within a couple inches of this, but the further away you go, the colder the tube will get. Those are the indication spots that we'd like you to check, and just get back up to us with an email or a phone call, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.